Disney, you've changed. You've gone from opening movies with necrophilia jokes.
We understand that ugliness and fatness are genetic disorders, much like baldness or necrophilia.
To making The Little Mermaid black. How disappointing. Anyway, back to the movie with necrophilia jokes, Nazi jokes, sexual harassment, misogyny, and feminism all in one. In fact, I'd like to go as far as saying, this is when Hollywood knew how to write a female character. This is feminism done right, whilst not making all men look blatantly evil. This is Dodgeball. No. This is Dodgeball. A movie about two guys who own two gyms. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to the dodgeball part eventually. We open with an ad for Globo Gym, a massively successful gym run by a guy who graduated Hustlers University when he was 6 years old. You can tell this by the absolute god complex, disrespect for people's emotions, and the hating of women who won't fuck him, the inflating of his dick pouch, and you get the idea. Turns out this was a TV ad on the TV of a drunk slob who fell asleep watching TV. Say that 10 times fast. Anyway, this fat slob is getting pleasured by his dog. Disney, 20th Century Fox, maybe don't go back to this one. Yeah. Who am I kidding?
Okay, hang on a second. You want to become a cheerleader to prove to a girl that you are not a loser? Yeah. What?
This is Peter, who runs a small gym somewhere in some place. He's getting into work, and on his way by, he manages to lose his gym money whilst also making everyone feel really good about themselves. You see, this is proof that you have to be a horrible employer if you want results. Anyway, there is a lawyer waiting in his room, perfectly timed for this exchange.
Well, you are very attractive for a banker.
Thank you, I'm not a banker, I'm a lawyer.
Really? And what kind of law are you involved in, Pretty Eyes?
Sexual harassment, mostly.
Oh.
She's here because Joe's Gym, or whatever it's called, is well behind on its payments to the bank. It turns out Globo Gym has paid money up front to basically dibs this gym when Peter goes bankrupt. Peter needs $50,000 to keep the gym open, and that's just not happening. Until the greatest idea ever happens. Male car washing. So they do that, and fail, actually losing money, which I don't know how they lost money. This one guy seemed very intent on spending all of his cash on this one dude.
Wait, Peter! We could play dodgeball.
I'm not a lesbian.
You're not?
No. I'm
bipolar.
So yeah, guys, it's time to play dodgeball. Mr. Orange here figured out that the prize for winning the dodgeball tournament was $50,000, and it would be enough to keep the gym afloat. So that's it. It's settled. Dodgeball it is. To qualify for this tournament, they need to beat one regional team. And that team is? I kid you not, a bunch of Girl Scouts on steroids and testosterone, who absolutely obliterate Peter's team. But at the awards ceremony, they get disqualified because of drug testing. That's crazy, goddammit, what a fucking movie.
We have a bit of a problem here. One of your players' urine tested positive for 3 separate types of anabolic steroids and a low-grade beaver tranquilizer. I'm afraid, by rule, your team must be disqualified.
The team is now at the pub to celebrate their win on a technicality, when Globo Gym walks in with their big, burly, buff men and threaten the Average Joe's squad. They got into the tournament too and plan on beating Average Joe's to prevent them from saving their gym. How, you may ask? Well, he's rich, so he didn't even need to try and beat some testosterone-filled Girl Scouts. Now, something I skipped over earlier becomes pretty important, so my lazy ass has to go back over it. The thing I skipped over is how Peter's team learned how to play dodgeball. They learned it from a video from multiple years ago in which a champion of the world bullies a kid into being good at dodgeball. Luckily enough for them, this champion of the world is now a Paralympian in dodgeball, and is going to go train them to beat Globo Gym. I was kidding about the Paralympian part. This training goes really well. He gives them all the love taps, or at least that's what my dad called them, that the team needs to get back in shape. Until Lawyer Lady shows up, and she's done with being sexually harassed by the bottom Q in his gym, and wants to participate in beating him up in Dodgeball. Now this is feminism.
You don't get to touch me. Ever.
Okay, Romeo. Let me help you up.
When women try to imitate male badass, they just look boring ass.
They get to the dodgeball tournament and they get their new costumes, in which they had a mix up and now they're gonna play in BDSM gear. Okay, terrify the opponents, I guess. They win their first round because Lesbian Lawyer is good at handling balls.
Great deflection. Take it to him. He's ballless now. He doesn't have any balls, Cotton.
You must be daddy.
They win a lot more rounds, which eventually gets Globo Gym scared. But not before the Paralympian becomes an after-death Olympian. Yeah, I don't know, some Final Destination type shit, a sign fell and his whole body got crushed, including the wheelchair. Now he gets to be a vegetable in heaven. And now is Globo Gym's perfect time to strike, offering Peter $100,000 to leave the tournament and hand over his rights to Average Joe's.
I don't know if you've ever seen $100,000, except maybe in the movies. But I assure you, something gets lost in the translation. Money, $100,000, dodgeball game.
And he accepts. Meaning Joe leaves his team to forfeit the match and give up on his gym. Except, no he doesn't, because he comes right back after a little alcohol-filled rage, and with the help of Chuck Norris, he gets the game to begin. The game is a tight one, and ends in a western standoff between Peter and Globo Gym owner Bottom Q. Peter does some ninjutsu shit, and wins the game. However, Peter already signed away his rights, so now what? Well, whilst Peter was off on his little I don't want to win escapade, he bet all $100,000 on his own team and then bet to 10x his losses and buy Globo Gym, which is a publicly traded company. Well, can't play the player. And then the lesbian isn't lesbian and is bisexual, so they kiss in front of her girlfriend. I mean, that's not how bisexuality works, and I'm pretty sure the girlfriend would still have a problem with that. However, it was 2004, and this movie is some of the most progressive shit I've seen since Utah banned the Bible for being too violent.